Hello, welcome to Susie Vision. If you haven't watched any videos from this channel before, I'm Susie. Welcome. And I do all things theme parks and travel related. To think about that. So today, it's exciting because it is the start of the British theme park season. Ooh. And we have had a lot of drama leading into the start of this new theme park season, let me tell you. So get yourself cozy, because we are off to Legoland.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Okay, so before I head to Legoland, I am just going to have a quick chat about the drama that has led into the upcoming theme park season. And boy, has there been some drama. So if you are watching this from the US, you might not be aware that traditionally the UK theme park season runs from around about February, March time through to about Halloween, give or take. Every park will be slightly different, so check directly with the park that you're interested in going to. But typically speaking, they will be closed over the winter months. That is primarily because we get cold and wet, and a lot of our attractions are outdoors. So rather than kind of have a half open park, they will typically shop. Now, the exception to that is often Christmas. Many of the theme parks will do something special over Christmas, but they are operating with a small fraction of their typical attraction roster open. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the new season. So various exciting things that have been on the cards for this upcoming season. Over at Chessington, this year brings the new Paw Patrol land. I've got to say, all of the things that are opening that are new are not aimed at my age group, unless you're a parent. But yes, we've got Paw Patrol over at Chessington. Alton Towers has a new Bluey attraction opening. Now, neither of those things is open for this weekend. This weekend is the start of February half term. Starts, as I'm filming this, it starts tomorrow on February the 14th. Yes, a lot of that new stuff isn't actually going to be open for tomorrow. It is going to be opening in March, when the typical traditional start of the season is. Now, because we have half term in February, again, for those that are not familiar, half term is basically a week's break that our school kids get in the middle of a term. So they'll typically have the summer holidays, a half term around about Halloween, Christmas holidays, then they'll have a half term around Valentine's Day, typically. Then they have the Easter school holidays, which varies exactly when it falls based on when Easter is. Then there will be a summer half term, which is usually around the beginning of June sometime. And then they go into the summer holidays again. There is variation on that, but that is typically how our school calendar works. So a lot of theme parks in the last few years decided to kind of have a kind of early opening for February half term. They then will typically shut up shop for a couple of weeks and then reopen in time for the Easter holidays, which typically we're talking about March. So Legoland. So I have chosen to go to Legoland tomorrow, which you'll notice I didn't mention anything new coming to Legoland. That's because there are no new attractions at Legoland this year. However, it is Legoland's 30th birthday. Now, Legoland's actual 30th birthday, I believe, is the 17th of March. I believe that's what the date is. And I do plan to go for that. But tomorrow is the first day of the season. Kind of unofficial first day of the season. It's a bit weird. But they are starting to have some of their birthday stuff, including their giant birthday cake and meet and greets with birthday cake guy. So fingers crossed I'm going to get them, which will be tomorrow for me, but very shortly for you. Now, the reason I'm choosing to film this intro today is because of all the drama. And if you are not aware of the drama that has gone into leading up to this season, that is probably because you either don't follow Merlin Parks that closely, or you are fortunate enough to not be a disabled person. And I'm not laughing at the idea of being a disabled person. I myself have a disability. But on the 2nd of February, with no warning going into the 2nd of February, with people having their half-term breaks booked, Merlin decided that it was the brilliant opportunity to turn around and tell people that their Ride Access Pass, which is their disability virtual line system, was going to have a huge overhaul. And part of that overhaul was that people that have difficulties with queues due to crowds were not going to be allowed to use their virtual queuing system. It makes no logical sense. No logical sense. Anywho, I'm not going to debate about whether that is right or wrong. I don't think there is a debate as to whether that is right or wrong, but I'm not going to get into that nitty-gritty of stuff, because believe me, I have been feeling it for the last 2 weeks, and it has been very mentally challenging seeing the various comments, which have been quite honestly vile, regarding people with disabilities. Vile comments that has all been triggered by this whole thing. Now, quite understandably, there was a huge uproar from the disabled community regarding these changes, to the point that within, I think, 48 hours of them initially announcing it, they said, oh, it's not a permanent change, it's a trial. You can judge whether that was always the intention or not. I personally do not believe that was always the intention. I think that was a bit of damage recovery from the PR department saying that it was a trial. And then yesterday, so 2 days before the parks were going to open for half term, they turned around and said, lols, cancelling it all. And they did a huge U-turn. Their COO issued a video apology as well as a statement. There has been a huge lack of communication around the entire thing. I personally, being a Ride Access Pass holder, also being an annual pass holder, have had no communication directly from Merlin. The only communication I have had directly from anyone at any point over any of this was from the Nimbus Access Card people. They are the ones that basically control telling Merlin what access needs you have. So it's all been a bit of a drama. It has to be said, there have been petitions with something like 30,000 plus signatures on them going around. Like, it has been absolutely crazy. And the consistent things that have been coming out of this whole thing was how upset the disabled community, particularly the neurodivergent disabled community, were. There were potential repercussions as to, is this even legal according to British disability and equality laws? It's a whole shebang. And I would hazard a guess, and this is only me basing this on what I have seen online, that Merlin have taken a huge financial hit in the last 2 weeks from cancelling annual passes, refunding short breaks, etc., for people that were just like, okay, we're not going to have access to this, but it means we can't go. like end of. There is no two ways about it. If we don't have that ability to virtual queue, we can't go. So yeah, drama, 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 drama. And as I'm sure you can appreciate, I didn't really want to talk about this at the front entrance to the park because I suspect the poor staff, who's it has nothing to do with them, this decision being made, are going to be dealing with a lot tomorrow. Because one, it's a totally new system anyway that they're doing. So there's going to be a lot of questions around that and how to use it, but also with the drama involved, because I'm sure there will be people that haven't heard the news that it's been U-turned because it has been like so quick. Yeah. And I'm impressed that I managed to say all of that in 10 minutes because I have done so many recordings of me ranting to the camera about this whole situation. And I'm talking about hours worth of footage of me ranting because it was just a way of me getting it off my chest. Because I say the abusive comments that I have seen online, which fortunately none of them have been directed at me personally, but it's still very difficult and it's impossible to avoid because of the algorithms showing me everything to do with theme parks and autism. So I mean, like, it was a brutal 2 weeks of seeing the comments, and hopefully now, at least for the moment, that it is resolved, or they have said they're going to be reviewing everything, but hopefully this will be the start of the end of, certainly on this topic, particularly the abusive comments, because I say it was non-stop. So that being said, let's get to Legoland and see how they're celebrating the 30th birthday. Future Susie, it's over to you. Thank you, past Susie. Yes, we are here at Legoland. It's the 14th of, I was going to say October, February, and it is the first day of 2026. Now, first stop is going to be the ticket office, because as a Platinum Pass holder, I am entitled to a one-time fast track voucher. So I'm going to go and see what that's about. Okay, so after a little bit of confusion, so you do have to go to the ticket office. It was really interesting because the first person I spoke to was like, no, you go to guest services. And then his manager happened to walk in at that moment in time. And he was like, no, it's here. So it's obviously just changed from what it was. And basically what they're going to do is you're going to show them your annual pass. They're going to give you a card, and that has a 2-hour validity on it where you can go to any ride and basically almost go straight on it. You're going to go through the fast track queue. And so that you are aware as well, if you do require a carer and you're a Platinum Pass holder, they are also entitled to it as well. Just an FYI, but it does only have a 2-hour validity, so don't save it till the end of the day. You've got to use it pretty quickly, unless of course you're turning up later on in the day. So they did also give me some stuff, and as the park technically hasn't opened yet, I thought I'd show you. So they've given me an official autograph card for Cake Guy. Oh, this is fun. A little guide to the birthday things that are happening, involving giant birthday cakes and things, and a sing-along, so you can sing along with whatever song they're going to be singing. We've got a cake catastrophe. Oh, you've got to find the different bits, and then you can go to Miniland to claim your exclusive pop badge. So we got that. We've got a special birthday resort guide. And then they gave me an activity sheet in case I had kids with me, which I guess is a reasonable assumption to make going to Legoland, with, again, the song lyrics on it. So various bits in hand. Everyone is still just waiting to be let in. So I'm taking a second to the side. We've got these new food vans, a soft serve and a hot dog station outside the park, which we didn't have before. And the other thing is car park A, I believe it is currently closed because they are fitting roofs with solar panels over parts of the car park, which is very exciting. Love making it more eco-friendly. Apparently they've spent over £1 million during the off-season to improve various things. So while they haven't added anything exciting, they have been making subtle improvements. They are now letting people in, so I'm going to join that queue. I don't like joining it until it starts moving because it stresses me out no end. And I got no sleep last night because my body was just stimming. So let's go. So, new Ride Access Pass app. Make sure you've got a reservation. But once you are here, you tap on that reservation and say check in. And when you leave the park, you need to check out so they can make availability available to other guests. But basically, you pick a ride. So if you're used to the old Legoland Ride Access app, it's very similar from that point of view in that you pick a ride before you go on it. And then there will be a QR code at the entrance that you go through to the ride. And you're going to scan that, and that is when your time out clock starts, not when you first see a staff member. So they have basically solved the problem of you potentially waiting 20 to 30 minutes once you've entered that queue. I'm going to dive across into a different line. They've solved the problem of you actually ended up waiting longer than, as it were, the regular queue. So that is an improvement on the app. All right, so we are in. And what is unfortunate is because of the time it took me to fiddle around at the ticket office, it meant I was further back for coming in, and it's going to make it difficult to see the opening show, because if I show you the crowd, look at that. Like, even if I hold the camera up, you probably can't see it. There is a giant birthday cake there with 30 on it. Oh, so cute.
Enjoy your day celebrating and having some birthday party fun.
And we're straight into the shop after that. So no one except for the front 2 rows could see anything. So I instantly beelined for someone with a radio and was like, you need to put them on a stage because no one can see anything. So now I'm just looking at things in the shop, seeing if there's anything new compared to last year. I'll turn you around. Hello. So I'm pretty sure all of this is the same stuff as last year. In fact, I recognise that t-shirt. Yes, I do. I know that one. My goodness, this is age 6. Got the various sets. Lots of cute little toys. Oh. Oh, we got stuff from Halloween. This is what they gave the little Halloween set, put the little Halloween sets in. Christmas gingerbread men. Halloween sets. Interestingly, not discounted in any way. Lots of cute backpacks and things. Again, all of this is the same as last year. The thing that's changed is they've moved the Duplo stuff slightly. But this kid stuff is all the same. Got all the Disney sets over here. This stuff was not over here before. They did not have... They had the Disney stuff together, but not here. I literally just built that set the other day. Got the Picker Brick building. This t-shirt's new. I have not seen that one before. These ones, well, the same. In fact, I'm wearing that one right now. These were all here last year.
Look at these hats, no.
I feel like this hat might be new. I could be wrong, but I feel like that one's new, and I feel like some of these are new as well. So I don't remember seeing them, but then I'm typically not looking at hats for smaller heads. Had fun at Legoland Driving School. They certainly had those visors last year and the trolls, and they've got bits and bobs. Biggest regret that I didn't purchase last year, so he might be coming home with me today. I have found the sale section where they do have some very cute Halloween t-shirts. But it doesn't actually say what the price is. It just says sale. Oh, some of this stuff says 40% off, but these ones don't. You say nothing. They say nothing. So in conclusion, I would have said, at first sight, I don't think there is a single new item in the shop. Now, it may be that they're holding back for the official opening as opposed to Brick Day's opening, but I feel like missed opportunity for 30th birthday match, if you ask me. Because I'm sure there are a lot of adults the same age as me where they would have come as 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds, and they would potentially be up for a good 30th anniversary t-shirt. All right, so crowd has dispersed. So let me show you this big birthday cake. Here we go. So you can see, I've got a building over there to compare the height of it to. And at the front, we've got Happy Birthday. We've got a Ninjago layer, a layer with different attractions and things on. Actually, we've got most of the attractions. We've got the dragon at the top. We've got the Legoland Express. We've got the Jolly Rocker, Ninjago, Miniland. Let's move around here. We've got the main shop. We've got the Lego City stuff. We've got the woodland houses. We've got the lighthouse that they like jumping off. We've got Flight of the Skyline. Oh, how cool is that? I'm going to check the other side. Okay, apologies about the sun, but we've got the, I can't remember what they're called, the little helicopter things, more of the Legoland. Oh no, it's not the Lego Express, the Hill Train. We've got the Sea Life bit, we've got the Legoland Hotel and the Castle Hotel. We've got, what's it called, Heart Lake City. Whew. And here is a better view. And we've also got one of the opening day attractions, the fairy tale boat thing, and Toon Blasters. Oh, that's so cool. So cool and so detailed. Love it. Okay, so this is where Cake Guy meets somewhere over here. Oh, look, they've got butterflies on the tree. That's new. Having all those butterflies on the tree there, that definitely wasn't there before. Because the last time I saw it, it was all Halloween-y. Very cool. Now hang on. Important sign. Birthday snacks. So let's see. We've got confetti popcorn, celebration pizza, free chocolate counter with any hot chocolate, milkshake party, and birthday sweet selection. Interesting. Now what I want to see is if they have done a birthday mug for their refillable cup, or if it's the same one as last year, which was the underwater. I can already see the ones in the vending machine, which are the same as last year. Again, missed opportunity. We have a new thing. This is new. This is actually quite clever because part of it isn't new. So this whole thing with the tap, with the colours coming down, is new, and they have repainted the river. Avoid the children. They have repainted the river so it looks like it's stemming from that tap. That's very nice. But my goodness, it's flowing. It's definitely flowing. But now it looks more like a river of imagination, which is cool. Party dragon in the house.
No worries. What's the problem?
Party dragon. All right, I go down this. Oh, hello. There's a big crowd of people at the bottom of that hill. Right. Get my correct leaflet out. Because I don't know when this thing starts. And I don't have a pen. I was going to buy a pen. Ooh, right. Go back and see if I can buy a pen. This is a nightmare, trying to walk against the crowd now. All over a pen. I usually carry one with me. Lack of organisation for someone that's extremely organised. I will say I've hit my crowd threshold already after that opening little dance party. I'm going to have to go to the big shop first. This is so ridiculous. I need a pen. Why didn't I bring a pen? Well, I'm certainly going to be getting my steps in today, aren't I? If I'm walking backwards and forwards like that. I was going to meet Cake Guy later, but if this takes more than 20 minutes to get a pen, I might be meeting him in a minute. BRB. Okay. It did take me longer than 15 minutes, and let me explain why. And do not laugh, okay? Do not laugh. I totally tripped over the tree of imagination and face planted, and my knee has gone from bad to dire. So I went to guest services and I was like, I just tripped over your park. I know your electric scooters are pre-booked, but do you have a spare one? Because there's no way I can do this on my own. Because obviously if I'd been with someone, they would have offered me a wheelchair. And they really sweetly managed to find one, but also waived the actual hire fee for me. So I had to put down a deposit, which for the record, the deposit is £50 and it is refundable at the end of the day. So that was a bit of a relief because I was getting really worried that my knee would just go, ugh. So I'm now in the queue to meet Cake Guy, and hopefully everything will go a bit more uphill. Thank you. Hi, Cake Guy.
singing happy
Now I
birthday
know
to
we're doing this, aren't we? We're doing this. Whee!
Lego wave.
Honestly, I feel like a professional ECV driver at this point in my life. All right. So that's ticked off a few things off the list. Because one of the challenges with Legoland is it is on really 2 levels. And I was a bit worried about when I was going to meet Cake Guy. So swings and roundabouts, people, swings and roundabouts. All right. Let's get into the main bit of the park before I trip, fall, or do anything over anything else. Because my goodness. I will say all the staff this morning have been absolutely fantastic. I don't know whether it's because it's the first day of the season, that they're all super like pumped and caffeinated. But they have all been mega, mega helpful, completely going out of their way to help. I have to say, I wasn't expecting them to waive the hire fee for the scooter. I really was just hoping that they would find one for me. Because I say this was not expected. And unfortunately, while my family do have an electric scooter, which would be my preferred one to use, because I'm not as big a fan of these really bulky ones that they have in the parks. It is currently broken from our last trip when BA, how can I put this, destroyed it. Now, from memory, I think I have to go down this way because it's a slightly different pathway for the old electric scooters than it is for everyone else. But this should be a nice way down the hill. Certainly a way I wasn't expecting to have to go. Everything is awesome. So I was actually having a really nice chat with one of the other guests while we were waiting for the answer to a question. What's amazing is actually seeing how many people that are here today are obviously regular visitors. And she was saying, you know, they come on a regular basis to the point that they know all the staff and everything. And she was like, honestly, the staff are the reason we keep coming back to Legoland specifically, because they are fantastic. And I would agree with that. I think out of the 2 parks that I've really been to with my annual pass, they have definitely been the better staff. Sorry, Chessington. And I will say special shout out though to Cadbury World, because they were also all excellent at Cadbury World. So, yeah. Right. Working my way round and down the hill. Oh, I think these are new. Yeah, they were not there before. Hang on, let me show you. We have a llama and an elephant on different forms of transport. I love seeing new stuff. New stuff is fun. So let's carry on down this hill. Oh, and we've got another, we've got raccoon. We've got raccoon. Yeah, raccoon in a vehicle of her own design. Now, it is a bit of a chilly day, but it's a clear day. But you can see there's definitely darker moments, which I think this is the problem, because as you can tell, my glasses have tinted, and I think that's part of the reason why I did trip up over the Tree of Imagination, because it's bright out, and I just could not see it. I did not see it. I felt it before I saw it, which is very weird and very scary, I have to say. But, you know, naturally being the creative person that I am, I immediately was like, save the camera, Save the camera! Priorities, obviously. Ooh. Ooh. I've got to say, surprisingly bumpy going down this hill. So I had fully intended to walk today. I was like, I'm going to get steps in and it's going to be great. And then I was like, oh, no. Well, Miniland is looking busy. Now, if anyone was wondering, the ECVs or electric scooters at Legoland are a bit like the ones at, I say these are actually exactly like the old ones that Disney World used to have. And they are speed limited. So if I compare the speed this is going compared to our own personal one, it is a lot slower. They're usually limited to 3 miles an hour, whereas typically a lot of the ECVs that you might own can do more like 4.5 to 5 miles an hour. It's very sensible that they limit the speed, but it's just worth being aware of because it does feel like it's dragging a little bit. Balloon sculptures. So I'm trying to decide if I be brave and try to deal with Ninjago or not. Show you what I'm looking at so you're not just seeing my head. Ooh, horticulture stuff going on. See if there's anything new anywhere. Now, either I haven't heard that recording before with that person talking, or it is new. All right, you're gonna love this. You ready? I think this is what I've been meant to be spotting. Oh dear. So, this is fun. So, what they've actually done, because I'm using an ECV, by the way, I'm at Mythica, Flight of the Skyline. And yes, I have changed my hat because I put hat and gloves on because it was getting really cold sitting in the ECV. So what they've had me do is go into the corridor that they normally just send you through after waiting outside. So I get to wait in the indoors, which is slightly warmer. I think that's because the little queues that they have out there don't have room for the wheelchairs. Another new ride that doesn't have a fully wheelchair accessible queue. But for this I've been using my one-shot. It's 11:40 now, so I was like, I need to use that before I do anything else. But I have seen the QR code outside for doing the ride access pass. So that looked quite straightforward actually. And I saw the group in front of me do it, and it did look incredibly straightforward. Okay, so I've been on a couple of rides. Went on Flight of the Skyline, lovely as always. Went on Toon Blaster, Laser Raiders, whatever that's called. So I got to experience the scanning the QR code. And that worked really well, actually. Very impressed by that. Much speedier when you got to the merge point with the staff member. So that was good. And then I got to Dragon. Now this one was interesting because it's the first time I've ever had to do this with a wheelchair, but I've often considered taking the wheelchair entrance because of my knees and the amount of stairs involved in getting up to the ride platform. The elevator plonks you in, I would have said, an equivalent place to the ride access pass fast track line. But you're in the middle of the main line. So it was really awkward because like I was having to reverse into the main line and there was minimal space. And then even more awkward is after you've got on the ride, you have to exit the wrong way, to which obviously the person that is waiting to go on the ride doesn't know that you're a wheelchair party and is pointing like, what are you doing? You're exiting the wrong way, idiot. No, I have to exit this way. And then the space is way too narrow to try and reverse in the ECV that Legoland have provided, because you have to go back through the queue to the lift. So that was not an enjoyable process whatsoever. The only bonus is because I didn't technically go in the right access line and there was no QR code. It was just a hit cancel type situation, which I guess is a bonus for me. But I was like, where's the QR code to scan? And he was like, oh, you have to go back to the right access pass entrance, scan there, and then go to the lift. Why? Why is it like that? All the food places currently have lines. It's about 1 o'clock, which is funny because the rest of the park has been quite quiet. I don't know whether people have been avoiding bringing picnics because the weather's colder or what. I don't know, but
The plan is to cut back.
it was certainly an interesting experience over at Dragon. And interesting to the point where I'd be like, you either need to make more space there for wheelchairs to turn around, or you need to not have ECVs that are huge, because that is super, super difficult. Really, really difficult. I thought I'd get food now so I could kill time before the 2 o'clock show, which is not far from here. I did get the jumper out. I didn't have to, like, on top of the coat. Well, it's underneath the coat, but I had to get the jumper out. Oh, the Pirates area is closed. Now that's interesting because you could see past what they've got blocked off. And it looks like they're probably just repaving and doing some aesthetic work, but I was really worried that we were going to be getting rid of the panning for gold, but it didn't look like it. They hadn't demolished that bit, so we'll see what they end up doing there. It does mean Pirate Burger Kitchen is closed, which is a shame because I would have loved to have got a burger, and I really don't feel like going and having a proper sit-down meal over at the Legoland Hotel today. Same reason I'm not going to the pizza buffet. And apparently with my pass I can get a £10 meal here, so we'll see what that is. But other than the disastrous start to the day, I haven't looked at my leg yet, but I can feel there is a bruise halfway down my shin, like from my knee down to my shin, which is a bit disturbing. So I'm interested to see what it looks like. Oh, am I lying? I'm such a klutz. Disaster area. Absolute disaster area. So apologies for the sound at the moment, because unfortunately I've had to park right next to a speaker. I just went to the Hungry Troll, which is that restaurant right there. And last year you were able to get fish and chips there, but it would only be kind of open part of the time. Apparently, there was a huge queue that you saw me in, backing up, and there were no menus. I get to the front of where you're about to enter the building, and I'm already like jittery because I can see it's busy inside the building. And I wasn't intending to eat there. I was gonna bring the food over here anyway. But I was feeling really, really jittery about it. And I get to the door and the manager or supervisor comes out and is talking to the guys that were looking at the queue. And she's like,
Hey everyone!
He was asking what-
10 minutes, our birthday brick bash will begin!
Stick around and get ready to party!
so he was asking, verifying what was on the menu to be able to tell people. And she's like, the menu is literally that, and a non-spicy version, pointing to the lava spice bowl. And I just went, are you kidding? And she's like, no, we've got the like chicken tenders and chips, basically. And I'm like, so you've not got fish? And she's like, no. And I'm like, wait, what? And she's like, yeah, we just got a new menu. She was basically taking feedback and like writing feedback messages in a notebook. And I was like, you want some feedback? I can give you some feedback. You need to have mobile menus, you need to have mobile ordering, you need to have menus on the app. And she's like, the menu's not on the app. And I'm like, no, the menu is not on the app. Like, we're standing in a queue completely blind as to what is on this menu. And I was like, there's nowhere to get a burger in this park. And she's like, oh, you could get chicken, but I'm like, no, a burger, not chicken burger, a burger. Because the burger place is shut. Like, you need to change one of the menus so that not everywhere is serving just chicken. Because the two places that are open serve chicken. Anyway, I had a really, really lovely chat with the supervisor. And she was fantastic, and she was taking on board the feedback, and she was like, I am so sorry that you've had this experience. It sucks. I'm really, really grateful for your feedback. And I was like, okay, I need to turn around because I'm not going to be ordering. And she was like, let me at least get you some chips. And I was like, okay. And she was like, no, you sure you don't want like chicken? We've got fish goujons, we can do the spicy. I was like, I don't do spicy. And so she's given me, sweetheart that she is, she's given me a bowl of fish goujons and chips. And then she was like, I'm so sorry, I didn't get you like cutlery or napkins or anything. I was like, girl, do not be worrying about that. I mean, obviously they're getting cold because it's cold out here. Sorry, I hate eating on camera, but I am hungry. So, yeah, like total craziness. So instead of getting a regular annual pass holder discount on my meal, I got the 100% discount on my meal. How mad is that? But that's what I mean, like the staff here are doing the best they can with the tools they've got. The problem they've got is the powers that be are making decisions that aren't helping them out do their job. Yeah, so I'm here for the birthday brick bash. I'll show you around. We've got a big sign, a lovely stage for the costume characters to trip over. I hope for their sake that they don't, because trust me, it hurts. And then you can see hanging off the lighthouse, we've got the Happy Birthday Legoland sign. And the good news is, I think I've got a pretty good view from here, so hopefully I will be able to show you as much of the show as possible, which will hopefully be a lot better than earlier, when we couldn't see any of whatever they were doing, apart from that they were wearing party hats.
There are only 5 minutes left until our birthday brick bash begins.
Since we're celebrating a special birthday, does anyone here know the exact date that Legoland Windsor Resort opened?
Shout it out.
17th of March.
That's it! March 17th, 1996.
Great job. We'll see you all in 5 minutes.
I was literally the only one yelling that out. So, it's been a mixed bag. They're definitely And I totally get this. It is a seasonal park. They are suffering from first day of the season issues. And, you know, that's partly why they have this 2 weeks opening, because it is quieter. No one wants to come out in the cold, relatively speaking. But, you know, when you have a 30-minute plus queue for food and none of the lines in this park have been longer than 20 or 30 minutes, you have a problem. And I bring this up because a lot of people wonder why there can't just be virtual queues for everyone. And that is why the rest of the park does not have the capacity for people to be in virtual queues all the time. It just doesn't.
The Legoland Windsor Resort, it's been 30 years of fun, play and imagination. So it's time to celebrate with a birthday brick bash.
30 years, it's brick by brick, and now it's been a thrill of an adventure. Day by day, all we did was play, creating to our full potential. Keep on moving, a million new horizons to explore. Endless possibilities are at your door. Keep on building, imagine what the future has in store. It's time for your ideas to soar.
Now give a warm welcome to the party hosts, Legoland Boy and Legoland Girl.
Happy birthday, here's to the memories we made. Happy birthday, let's build some more and celebrate. So put your hands up to the sky, make us see and wave them high. You get the picture, like a minifigure, then sing it out loud with the Legoland crowd. Happy birthday to you.
Hello!
Hi there!
Are you all ready to party? Awesome!
Speaking of awesome, we have some dance moves to teach you.
Watch each move first, then repeat after us. Put your hands up to the sky. Hands up to the sky. Make a C and wave them high. Make a C and wave them high. You get the picture. You get the picture. Move like a minifigure. Move like a minifigure.
Next, everyone sing the words Happy Birthday to you.
As loud as you can. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you.
Great job!
Now let's do it all together from the top. Ready, set, dance.
So put your hands up to the sky, make a C and wave them high.
That's it.
You get the picture, like a minifigure.
Come on.
Then sing it out loud with the Legoland sound. Happy birthday to you.
You did it!
Anytime you hear that part of the music, be sure to dance and sing along with us.
Now, let's take this party up a notch.
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, Legoland. Happy birthday, happy birthday, here's to the memories we made. Happy birthday, let's get some more celebrate. So put your hands up to the sky, make a C and wave them high.
Oh yeah!
You get the picture, like a minifigure, then sing it out loud with the Legoland. Happy birthday to you.
best friends is a great way to celebrate at Legoland.
Thanks! Now it's your turn. What's one of your favorite ways to celebrate?
My absolute favorite is using my creativity.
That's cool! Can we all do that together?
Of course! We can get creative together by imagining how all of our different Legoland friends celebrate birthday parties too. Just follow along. I've got the creativity inside of me, the superpower that sets my mind free. If you've got imagination, get excited. You're invited to use your own creativity. A pirate party is one of the rowdiest parties on the 7 Brick Seas. Let's use our creativity now to party like pirates. Hoist the party flags. Now pirates shout ahoy! Ahoy! Pirates shout arg! Arg! Hey, that was it! You caught on quick! Let's keep going! I've got the creativity inside of me, the superpower that sets my mind free. If you've got imagination, get excited. You're invited to use your own creativity. Ninjas don't have much time to party with all of their training, but today's a special day. It's time for a ninja party! Ninjas chop right! Ninjas chop left!
Yeah!
Now chop really fast! Faster! Phew, ninja parties are hard work!
Can I do the next one?
Of course!
I've got the creativity inside of me, the superpower that sets my mind free. If you've got imagination, get excited. You're invited to use your own creativity. Let's imagine the knights, jesters, kings, and queens all celebrating together at a royal party after defeating a dragon. Grab your silverware and dig into the feast.
Nom, nom, nom. This is tasty!
Now everyone shout yum! Yum!
Well, now I'm completely stuffed. Ugh.
Let's do one more! I got the creativity inside of me, the superpower that sets my mind free. If you've got imagination, get excited. You're invited to use your own creativity.
The citizens of Lego City were celebrating, but some baddies came through and ruined the party.
Now we gotta catch 'em.
Buckle up, grab the steering wheel, now drive to the right.
Quick turn to the left. And
Stop! We caught the baddies!
And the citizens of Lego City can party!
See, by using your creativity, the possibilities are endless. Come on, sing it with me.
I've got the creativity inside of me, the superpower that sets my mind free.
If you've got imagination,
Get excited,
you're invited to use your own creativity.
Wow! Using our creativity is another perfect way to celebrate at Legoland.
Hey, let's ask our friends to come up with one more.
Great idea! Everyone, shout out some of your favorite ways to celebrate at Legoland. Let's hear them.
Riding rides? Me too.
Building with Lego? Oh yeah.
Eating treats?
Maybe golf.
Those are all fantastic answers.
And I heard one out there that sums it all up. It's having fun! Flying on a ride with both hands in the air. The thrill of an adventure, the wind in my hair.
Spinning round and round, you right next to me. Makes me wanna scream and shout out loud.
Yippee! We're all having the time of our lives. This day is so fantastic, full of good vibes. Feeling like one in a million. The best way to describe it. Fun, fun, fun. Fun, fun, fun. Woohoo! We're having fun. Fun, fun, fun. Fun, fun, fun. see, we're feeling like, whoa! You heard us. Get up on your feet now.
Let's have some fun all together.
Come along.
Wave your arms.
Next, lean and party. Lean and party.
Now party round in a circle. Wow, you're all really great at having fun.
So, let's keep the birthday party fun going! We're all having the time of our lives. This day is so fantastic, full of good vibes. Feeling like one in a million. The best way to describe it. Fun, fun, fun. Fun, fun, fun.
We're having fun.
The best way to describe it. Fun, fun, fun.
That was so fun.
It really was! And we hope you all continue having fun
Using your creativity
and playing with friends
while celebrating together at Legoland.
with ninjas, knights, and pirates. We're gonna party all day long. Let's keep this Legoland birthday break bash going strong. Now blow out the candles and sing the celebration song. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Here's to the memories we made. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Let's get some more and celebrate.
You're ready to party,
So
guys.
put your hands up to the sky. Make a sea and wave them high.
Keep it going.
You get the picture, move like a minifigure. Then sing it out loud with the Legoland crowd. Happy birthday to you. Everyone, sing along to Happy Birthday with us. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Legoland. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you for partying at our birthday brick bash.
Enjoy the rest of your day at Legoland Windsor Resort. Goodbye.
See you later.
This is a good opportunity to show you the scooter I'm in for the day number 2. Yeah, so you can see it's quite a big beast. These things typically will have a weight capacity of over 400 pounds. So they are suitable for pretty much everyone, but they are big, which does make manoeuvring them difficult. And I'm saying that as say, an experienced ECV user. But for right now, we're on the Legoland Express and getting ready to go. See if there's anything new on the route. This is one of these ones where they do sometimes put new figures or change them up and stuff. So excited to see what we can see. Oh, someone's left the water effects on. Evil person. What? Why would they do that to us? Why would you leave the water effects on when it is freezing cold in February? Oh, I might regret this. Oh, the fish are at it now. Oh. Why? They usually turn them off in the winter months. Oh. Monkey's at it. Last time I filmed this, I missed this guy. Hate it. Switch to the phone for a second. drama at Ninjago. So I went into the shop and I was like, could you point me in the direction of the lift? And the lovely girl was like, it's over there, but you can't take a mobility scooter. And I'm like, well, we've got a problem here. Do you have a wheelchair that you can provide? Because my problem is that I can't stand up in a queue for any length of time. So I'd need at least a wheelchair. And the ride solution was for me to go back to the top of the park to get a wheelchair. And I was like, I can't get back down because I can't wheel myself that far. I'm on my own. So I had to contact the accessibility team on the mobile number, and they then rang me back. And I'm now waiting for a member of their team to arrive with a wheelchair, so that hopefully I can try and get in the line for this ride. Not ideal at Legoland. I did unfortunately have to mention that this would be breaking the law if they don't have a way of me accessing it, because there's no reason that I should be able to access this other than what I imagine is being controlled by a weight limit of the lift. I don't know how heavy this is, but the weight limit for the lift is 400 kg. So, let's see if I get to ride it. Yeah, this is the lift here. Just looking in. I mean, it could also be to do with the size, but I think this would physically fit in. It would just be tight. Okay, so someone actually turned up within 5 minutes with a wheelchair. He has to wait in the shop for me to come back because he can't leave without taking the wheelchair back up. Bananas, absolutely bananas. Just so you can see, this is the run that I absolutely hate. And this is actually where this was the whole queue for it. Oh, I hate this run. Although it's not as jam-packed as it was last time I was in it, but it's still pretty packed. And I can't really explain this, but it is always easier for me if I am in a wheelchair. And I am also extremely grateful this is entirely flat, because it makes it a lot easier to wheel yourself when you're not used to wheeling yourself. Actually, this isn't a bad chair, if I'm honest. A little tight, but not bad. The lift was absolutely terrifying, I've got to say. I can see why they don't allow mobility scooters in here. So I am very shocked that if they don't allow mobility scooters in here, they don't have a wheelchair. And I'm also shocked that this poor girl in merchandise was having to liaise with the attractions team, who were basically going, not our problem. Wild, absolutely wild. Okay, let's talk about that whole situation, because I don't know how much you could hear what I was saying. So, in order to access the Ninjago ride using a wheelchair, you have to go through the gift shop, and then there is a lift. It's a Stana lift that cannot handle mobility scooters and has a max weight capacity of 400 kilograms. But there is no wheelchair for you to transfer into. So the lovely staff member that was working in the shop, because she was the only visible staff member, she called up to the ride team to find out what to do. And they basically went, well, she can't ride. And I was like, I hate to be the one to point this out, but you're actually breaking the law here. So their next suggestion was that I could go up to the top of the hill, swap my ECV for a wheelchair, and come back down. And I was like, how's that going to work exactly? Because I can't possibly wheel myself all the way down. That's why they gave me an ECV. And let's not forget, this was all caused because I tripped over something in your park. And in fairness, the girl that was working in the shop totally got the situation and totally got how bad it looked as well. Because I was chatting to her and I was like, I don't understand why you don't have a wheelchair for people to transfer to when this happens. She then gave me the number for the accessibility team. I called them up. The guy there said, I need to talk to my co-worker and then I will call you back. He called back within like 2 minutes and said, right, what we're going to do is we're going to send someone down with a wheelchair. I was like, okay, works. I had no idea how long I was going to wait. And I think the girl in the shop was half expecting it to be like 30 minutes plus before they came down, but it was actually only about 5 minutes or so. So well done to them for that quick response. And now this is where there was a bit of a grey area, because I just straight away went, I'm not expecting you to push me. And he didn't say anything either way. And I basically, initially, because I have tried wheeling myself in a wheelchair before, and I found it really, really hard work. And I was in a theme park at the time. So I was like, what I'm going to do is basically use this like it's a crutch or a support frame, and then I'm going to sit in the chair when I get to the queue bit. And he was like, that's okay, whatever you need to do. So off I went in the lift on my own and got up in there. And I hit the merge point, and for once they had someone at the merge point. I was like, great. Because last time they did not, and that was really, really awkward. And I said to the guy, like, I don't know what you want me to do because here's the situation, and I do have a ride access pass, but I couldn't scan it because your scan code is in the wrong place for anyone that uses a wheelchair. And he's like, don't worry, as long as I can see that you have ride access pass, we're good. And I'm like, okay. And he was really sweet because he was like, do you want me to leave a bigger gap between you and the person in front? I was like, that would be really helpful. And the girl at the load point was really good because I had to keep asking her to repeat the instructions because I couldn't quite hear her properly. And I will say, the setup in there was much better once you were up there because you flowed through the queue past the merge point, and then they loaded you into a specific row, and that specific row had a separate gate for you to park your chair in, where you then went straight through to the exit. And they were fully waiting for me to get off the ride. Like they knew what vehicle I was on and everything. So that was way better than the Dragon setup was. So swings and roundabouts, yet again. Yeah. I'm going to see when I hand this back to guest services, I'm going to feedback, and I'm going to be very interested to see what their general response is, because I'm not expecting anything from them, but like it's not really good enough, is it, to be like, oh, you just can't ride. I'm like, why are they making this poor girl in the shop who's on her own do all the work for this and not sending someone down to sort it out? Baffling. Utterly baffling. But for now, I'm going to head back to Miniland, see if I can get hold of one of these 30th birthday pop badge thingy-majiggies. And then probably head back to the shop before I head out, because it's now 3:51, so the park's open for about an hour and 10 minutes, and I really don't want to hit the busy period in the shop. Ooh. Okay, birthday pop badge acquired. So that was really awkward, actually. So there were there was a family in front of me and a guy in front of me, and the family in front of me, I just saw them being given their pop badges, and then the guy was like, "Where do I buy these?" And she's like, "Oh, no, you don't buy them. They're free." And he's like, "Oh, can I have one then?" And then she went, no, you've got to build something in the brick, and then and you can just show me a photo of it, and then I will give you one. And he's just like, "Oh, I can't be dealing with that." And then I just kind of went up to her and said, "I've been having a rough day. I'm not going to lie to you here." And she laughed, and I was like, "If I show you a picture of a Lego set I've built, can I have one?" And she went, "Yeah." So I showed her a picture of the Lilo and Stitch beach house set that I built. And she's like, "Did you do that from memory, or was it a set?" And I was like, "Oh, it was a set." And she's like, "It's good enough for me." So she gave me one, which is really sweet, and I really appreciate it, because at this point I've kind of had enough. I'm not going to lie to you. It's really funny though, because the little leaflet they gave us was like, "No, you answer these questions and then we'll give you one." So really interesting that they seem to be like very confused about what they're doing. But for now, I was going to get the hill train up. That was my plan today, was to walk around the park all day and get the hill train back up to the top. But you know, as I've got my little vehicle today, I guess I'm driving up. I'm still really perplexed as to where all these things were, because there was definitely an image of a party hat, like a flat image of a party hat. So I kind of then assumed that the other things were going to be flat images as well, but I have not seen a single flat image anywhere. And I looked around the whole of Miniland, and I have been keeping an eye out as I've been going through the park, and I've not seen anything. So I don't know whether the things we're meant to spot are in fact the things I was spotting in the first place. Because for the record, this is the fox wearing the party hat, right? Like, he's clearly wearing a party hat. So, yeah. And the other things, for the most part, I can think of where there are actual big, like, models of them. So I'm still very confused by that. Maybe it will become clear in a month's time what is actually going on with all of that. Oh, they do have them on the little bunting flags as well. Are up here. They've got the things on there, so maybe that's what they meant. I don't know, I don't understand. And just for the record, my battery is currently 2/3 full. So if you are hiring an ECV for the day, do not worry, the battery should last you. I feel like I got quite a lot done today, but equally I was hit by kind of mild disaster after mild disaster. And I should be clear, although I have been given stuff by Legoland today, I was not actually expecting to be given stuff by them at any point today. So I wasn't expecting them to comp the ECV rental. I understand completely why they decided to do that, given how I injured myself, but I wasn't expecting them to do that. I certainly was not expecting to be given the fish goujons and fries. That was definitely unexpected. The wheelchair situation at Ninjago, that I kind of expected them to do something. I'm not going to lie, because that was not okay. That situation was even possible, because there's plenty of people that use wheelchairs and ECVs that would not be able to stand in that line, but have complete ability to transfer and everything. And the reality is, if I had done this injury to myself at home, what would I have been doing? I would have probably brought a set of crutches with me for additional support when standing, and hired an ECV, or brought our ECV if it wasn't broken right now. So, yeah, interesting bag today. I've had a good time, but I'm freezing cold, by the way, absolutely frozen solid at this point. But yeah, there are definitely things that could have been done better, no doubt. But as I say, all of the staff I interacted with directly, because I'm not going to include the attraction staff at Ninjago, whoever it was that was like, oh, they can't ride, because I didn't actually speak to them. But everyone else, on the whole, has been fantastic. They really have. And obviously, awkward situation that I ended up in, but I think they did a reasonable job of dealing with that for the most part. See, one of the things I had to find was a piñata, and I think that is the piñata that they're possibly expecting you to find. This is my theory. It is an odd one, though, that the whole what am I hunting for thing. Oh good, there's no queue for the shop. Thank goodness for that. I've beat the crowds. Wonderful. That's what I want. I'm going to see if I can get a picture in front of the birthday cake, which could be interesting, because I'd rather not have had the ECV in it, but... Thumbnail! All right, back to the shop. So I say it's about 4 o'clock, so you can see, you should be able to, if I did show any crowd spots, the difference. But first we pass past the dreaded Tree of Imagination. Okay, this is the thing I tripped over. I literally tripped over this giant green thing. Oh my goodness. How embarrassing. Definitely hit my embarrassment limit. Aye. There is a reason I don't go to the shop at that time of the day. Oh my goodness. If any of you have experience of the big shop at Legoland, if I tell you that the queue went through the whole queue line, which was a couple of double back and forths in front of Hills, then it looped right around the back section, came back on itself, and then was heading right through towards the Duplo end of the store. My goodness. Quite relieved I was sat down in the ECV, if I'm honest. So, made it through that. And then I got to the till, and what you've got to remember is first day of the season, they've got a lot of new staff that they're training, and so they are seeing things for the first time in real life rather than just in kind of a hypothetical. And there's certain things you can't really do properly until you have customers in front of you. And in an ideal world, you do on-the-job training, but they can't do that if the park's not open. So there were a lot of transactions that were going on where they were having to get managers or supervisors to assist them. Someone had bought something earlier and they were picking it up and they didn't know where they were supposed to go. And so they had cut in front of me going to the till to ask that question after she'd called the number. So I'd gone down and it was the one right at the end. So I was then stuck there waiting for them to disappear and blocking the exit for everyone else because the ECV is so big, but there wasn't anything I could do. And then it turned out they were in completely the wrong place because where you went to pick it up last year is different from this year. And then on my transaction, they said, do you want to use your insiders points, which is Lego's loyalty scheme, which Legoland didn't used to be a part of, but for the last year or so they have. So I was like, yes, I'll use some of my points, but not all of the points. And she didn't know how to do that, so she had to get someone to help with that. And then for the rest of the transaction, my Merlin discount wasn't going through. And it took them a second to realise why. And it's because apparently you can't use your points and use your Merlin discount at the same time. And I was like, well, bear in mind, I was buying like £50 worth of stuff, right? And so I said, well, can you split the transaction then? So it's 2 transactions. So I'm minimising what I'm losing. Because he was trying to tell me that 10% off is not as good as you getting £20 off. And I'm like, yeah, but I've accrued that £20. Like, I would rather not use it if that's going to be the case. You know, like, because then I'll get the full £20 worth anyway. Amazingly, he managed to override the system, so it did it. I don't know. Because he didn't want to have to put it through as 2 transactions. There you go. But issue solved. So I'm not complaining. It was just one of those, like, just silly situations. So I then went to guest services. Now, this was an interesting one because there was a big long line at guest services. And I was like, why is the line for guest services this long? Because there were people that didn't seem like they were complaining. And it turned out that there were people that were getting lockers or something. I don't know. I didn't really understand. And that's partly why the queue was so long. But anywho, I tried to stay in the ECV for as long as possible before I had to get out of it because it couldn't have fit in to guest services because guest services is so small. And then the person behind me seemed really miffed that I was getting out of the ECV. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I can't drive it in there. So I spoke to a lovely guy. And bless, I think I must have given him a panic attack because he saw my microphone, which, by the way, was switched off. I do not record unless they want me to record it. I do not record interactions I'm having with staff in places because I don't think it's fair to them to do that. And I'm not trying to catch people out. Like, all I want to do is just report back what has happened. I'm not ever trying to catch people out in a situation. So I was like, no, you can see there are no lights on. I'm not recording anything. And I was like, here's my receipt. I'm returning this scooter. And he's like, let me get the deposit back to you. And then I said about, what did I say? I said, first of all, and I do truly believe what I'm about to say. I do think the new Ride Access Pass app is an improvement. Several reasons. One, you can modify your booking without going through the hassle. Because quite honestly, And he even said, in order to modify your booking before, you had to phone someone up or email. And by that point in time, I'd had so many problems communicating with Merlin, I just didn't need it. And yes, that probably makes me a bad person for not modifying when I couldn't come. But if they made it easy, I would do it. And in this new app, they make it really easy, so I will do it. So that, I think, is an improvement. The other thing is the fact that it compensates you for, in effect, for the time that you do wait in a physical line. I always use Flight of the Sky Lion as the example of this, because last summer I ended up in that ride access pass line for about 30 minutes, and then they scanned me. And by the time when I entered the line, it was a 20-minute queue. And by the time I left, it was a 50-minute queue. And so I was actually queuing, whether virtually or physically, for 30 minutes longer than I should have done. And I never liked that. I didn't like that anyone would be penalised like that. So now you scan before you enter the line, much, much better. Because it's right as you enter. And therefore you are, in effect, compensated, because it's taking the wait time from when you enter, not from when you get to whatever staff member. So I mentioned about the dragon queue situation. Now, it happened that this guy that I was speaking to was the same guy that organised a wheelchair being sent down to me at Ninjago. So he was already aware of the situation that had happened, because I did mention that. And I was like, why is there not a wheelchair at Ninjago? Because I cannot believe I'm the only one in this situation. I might be the only one who's on my own in that situation. But anyone that's in an ECV, which they could be for all sorts of reasons. It could be that it's a parent with a child and the parent is using an ECV. You wouldn't expect the child to push them to try and support them physically getting through that line. It doesn't make sense. You need to have a wheelchair there if scooters cannot get up to that level. I mentioned how cumbersome the ECVs are. I've said before, I understand why they are, but if you're going to have these tight spaces, either have smaller ECVs that you're giving out or have wheelchairs that people can transfer to. Other parks around the world have wheelchairs you can transfer to. They should be doing that. What was interesting is quite surprised when I said that I was able to go in the lift in the Dragon. And I went, yeah, because the one in Ninjago is a Stana lift and that one is a proper lift. But I then had to try and get through the queue space, which was narrow, and try and turn the whole thing around, and was subjected to another guest basically calling me an idiot for exiting the wrong way because they hadn't anticipated me getting off the ride. All that was really needed, and it sounds like I'm having a big rant, but I said to him, it's these little things that are so easily corrected, because the girl had put me in row 6. They have 2 dragons on the track, so it's not difficult to keep count, because I was the only wheelchair user in that moment. Surely you keep count and then you don't load row 6, or you tell them to stand back because someone's going to be getting off. No? Isn't that a logical thing to do? Because I do appreciate, as he said, the Dragon has been there for a very long time. I want to say it opened in 1998. So it is 28 years old. So I do understand how it's not the easiest one for them to get wheelchairs around. But he was quite shocked that they didn't have a sign saying don't let scooters up there. But again, there was no wheelchair to transfer to. So And there was no sign saying no scooters. Like, she didn't kind of freak out when she saw I was in a scooter. So, I mean, like, and I was saying to him, like, I used to drive these things for a living. I am an experienced ECV user of this size ECV. And if I can't maneuver it, because if I do say myself, I'm pretty good at maneuvering them. But if I can't maneuver it, then I really feel for people who don't regularly use an ECV and have just got one because they can't handle the amount of walking in a park, which is not an uncommon thing, again, for someone to not be a regular wheelchair or ECV user and to just rent one for when they're in theme parks. And yeah, like it was a bit mad. And, you know, a good few things went wrong today. You've seen it. It is the reality of the first day of the season. And I have full sympathy for that. I have full sympathy for who knows how many complaints they will have had about the ride access pass system. I certainly heard some while I was in there as well, because it is a new system and, you know, there's always going to be teething issues anyway, but then you have all of this extra drama that I mentioned at the beginning of the video on top of that. And it's just like, they're the frontline staff that have to deal with that. And I don't think it's fair. And it's really unfortunate. And they are just doing their best. And, you know, I said to him, like, as a general rule, I would say that most of the staff that I encountered were, everyone I encountered face to face was fantastic. I'm still shocked by whoever was on the phone to this girl at Ninjago. And that they were even leaving the girl who's on her own in a merchandise shop with no one else there to try and resolve the issue. That should never have been the case. And yeah, like, it's mad. Because I said to him, their suggestion was that I come up here, get a wheelchair and come back down. And he straight away went, "But you're on your own?" And I was like, exactly. Like, I physically could not have done that. And, you know, you can't help what the lift is. Well, someone can, but you can't help what the lift is. But, like, wow. So, that's a little summation here. The 30th birthday stuff at Legoland. Do I think they could do more? Yes, absolutely. And my biggest feedback to them about what I saw was that the people doing that welcome show need to be on some kind of a stage or platform or something, because you just cannot see them. And I'm 5'7", and at that point I was standing and I couldn't see anything apart from the top of their hats. So you can bet your life none of the kids could see anything. I mean, I saw some parents, like, they weren't just having kids on shoulders. They were, like, full on standing on the shoulders because they couldn't see anything. And I almost feel like it's super cute, but you'd almost be better amalgamating that with the main show if no one can see it. Because it just seems silly. Just my opinion, obviously. But I really enjoyed the show in front of the lake. It was really cute. It's probably the slickest I've ever seen the Legoland dancers. And I think that is down to the fact that they've been able to rehearse while the park's been closed. And I've seen them having to try and rehearse shows while the park is open, and it is not easy for them, and they've got limited time to do it in. And so I think a huge part of how slick that was down to the fact they were able to rehearse it properly. So that was great. Recommend seeing it if you're at Legoland. But none of the 30th birthday stuff, like, obviously if it's got sentimental value to you, come for it. But I wouldn't have said it's so special that you need to go out of your way to come to it, if that makes sense. How was my first day using ride access pass. I had a brief blippy moment with the internet, and because of everything that had happened, I was scared to shut down the app and reopen it. And I ultimately did shut down the app and reopen it, and it was all fine, and it fixed it. But I think that was only scary because of what's happened the last 2 weeks. Otherwise, really liked the app. Once I knew what I was doing, interface was very straightforward and simple. And I think as it helps you go through the line, it was much speedier because the cast, I keep wanting to say cast member because I'm in Disney mode. The staff member that would normally be scanning you in, it was much quicker for them to just check that you had it on the screen, because they could tell from the screen you've already been scanned in, and the screen has your whoever it is, his picture on it. In my case, my picture. So that was much, much smoother as a process. So thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up to the new Ride Access Pass app. Really liked it. I say I'm ignoring all the drama when I talk about that. And then finally, how did I find the park using an ECV? Oh, this one was such a mixed bag. It really, really was. First of all, my observation, and this is just from me looking at it, when I go to Disney, if I'm using an ECV, when I go through a ride, they always ask if I can transfer, if I'm able to transfer. And I did not get asked that question once today. Now, I suspect that's because if you can't transfer, you're not getting on the ride. Like, I just got the vibe that that's the case. I don't know for sure that that's the case, but I got the vibe that that's the case. Skyline was no problem at all getting around that with the ECV. They put me automatically in row B, which meant that not only was I on the bottom, but also I was right by the exit where you park your ECV, so I wasn't having to walk far to get to my seat. In fact, I was the nearest seat to the door. Legoland Express, I was able to park my ECV right outside the row that I was sat in, and the train comes back to the same spot. So that was super, super easy. We've talked about Ninjago and Dragon. I think, though, and I did Laser Raiders. Laser Raiders was fine. Bit difficult in a tight space trying to maneuver the ECV, but it was fine. I was basically driving it up to where you board, and where you board is where you exit. So that wasn't really an issue as such. What I did notice is where, if I was at Disney and I'd parked my ECV for a ride and it was the wrong way round to exit, Disney cast members would put the ECV into manual, as it were, and they would move it so it was ready for me to exit. They did not do that here. That's a nitpicky thing. I suspect they're not told how to do that. But it would have made my life a lot easier in a couple of places. I'm not going to keep talking about Ninjago and Dragon. You've seen it. For different reasons, neither one was great, but once you were in that lift at Ninjago, very easy to maneuver around, very easy to load and get off. Dragon was difficult to get through the queue, difficult to exit. So, yeah, I'm not sure I'd recommend that, but equally, like, what you're going to do. What was very interesting is that in both of those situations, they were not catering for people that are walking or ambulant but can't do steps, because both of the lifts, it was heavily implied that you are only supposed to use them if you are using a wheelchair or similar mobility device. And I can't remember how many stairs you have to climb at Ninjago, but certainly at Dragon, I would have said it's about 3 flights of stairs. So it's a fair few stairs that you've got to climb. And I don't think that is a great accessible situation to be in. Otherwise, all good. I was able to get around Miniland and the park. Okay, yes, occasionally I had to go specific ways, and thankfully I do know my way around the park. So that was all fine. Because the Pirate Shores section of the park was closed, in order to get to the castle section, is it Castle Kingdom? You had to go through what they call the Enchanted Forest, which the pathway, there was a pathway, but it wasn't really wide enough for 2 people, particularly if one was an ECV. And there was 2-way traffic, including a lot of pushchairs, which did make it a little harder. But thankfully, everyone was super courteous and we all kind of pulled to the side at whoever had the widest spot, etc. Checking the time. So that was fine. So getting around the park was absolutely fine. I missed doing the hill train. I could have gone on the hill train, I believe. I just was like, do you know what? I'm not having to walk anyway. I'm just going to take the hill. As for coming in February, it was a lovely day today, but yes, it was cold. So at the start of the day, I was wearing this jacket, t-shirt, no gloves, baseball hat. As we went through the day, I was putting more and more layers on progressively. So I started off with switching the hat, wearing the gloves. Then I put a sweatshirt on underneath. And some people may be thinking, why didn't you do that in the first place? Well, I was expecting to walk today. And when I start walking, I start overheating. And so I wasn't expecting to be sat and therefore getting colder quicker. So that's why. But I do recommend wrapping up warm, lots of layers, because I think the first time I actually got warm was when I was in the shop at the end. I didn't notice at the beginning, but yeah, the shop at the end was the first time I actually got warm. And I did go and get myself a hot chocolate, which I haven't started drinking yet. And it's probably been like 30 minutes since I got it. Biggest takeaways is do not be intimidated by the new Ride Access Pass app. Obviously, we had the drama. That is supposed to be resolved now. Don't be surprised if there's the odd buggy moment in the app, because it's a new app, but they were testing it over the winter months at some of the other parks. So hopefully they got most of the little glitches out of the system. But in general, I do think that app is a massive improvement. Even for Legoland, where they were already using a digital version rather than the piece of paper that Alton Towers and Thorpe Park were using. I think most of any complaints that I heard were people like before, where they hadn't been able to get a booking and they were trying to check if there was availability, because what a lot of people don't realise is that the people in guest services can't see any more than you can. They have no control over it because it's done by the powers that be. The people on the ground, they can't see any of that stuff any more than you can. So obviously I haven't tried, as it stands, getting a last minute reservation, because it used to be 10 o'clock. Check it and you'd be able to get one for that day. Obviously, because they're still prepping for their March opening, they are doing work. So when I was chatting to the staff member over at the Hungry Troll, I think it is, whatever that troll restaurant is, where they don't have menus, or don't have menus on the outside. she was saying that they are intending for the Pirate Shores area to be open for March. They've kind of got the next 2 or 3 weeks is like an on-off. They're open every weekend until then, but otherwise it's a bit on and off with the weekdays to when they're open. And she was most definitely taking feedback on the menu changes. So they're definitely in a feedback period, which is why I'm a big feedback person. It's how I was trained at a previous job, that feedback was really important. So I do try and give feedback, and it probably irritates the life out of them. But I do think it's important to feedback. And that is why I wanted to make sure I did feedback, particularly as I was going to guest services anyway. Had I not been going there anyway, I probably would have sent an email to do it, because they often ask, how was your visit, in a follow-up email. So yeah, that was midday at Legoland. I'm hoping to come back for the actual birthday. So it'll be interesting to see how things have changed and exactly what they've done over at Pirate Shores, because it definitely looked like a construction site back there. And there were some cute things that they've added, like cute little models. I like seeing the new things that they've added each year. Didn't get to properly see it at Miniland if they'd added much new stuff. Because there was just, by that point, I was in pain. There was so much going on. But they definitely had added some new models on the walk down the hill and stuff. So that was nice to see. And I really want them to get some 30th merch. That would be really, really lovely if they got some 30th merch. Fingers crossed. I can but hope. But I hope you enjoyed this video and it helped you with planning your Legoland trip or deciding whether to come and visit. As you can probably tell, I'm not sponsored by anyone. So that's why I can say whatever I think. But don't be intimidated by the new app. Give it a try if you are a Ride Access Pass user. And yeah, for now, I'm going to say goodbye. If you did like this video, please consider hitting like and hitting the subscribe button, because I am a very small channel. I'm such a little channel, and it really does help me, and it makes me smile every time I see a new subscriber or a new like, because I do pay attention to that. And let me know what stuff you like to see in the video. By the way, the fish goujons were, apart from the cold weather making them cold, were really nice. I highly recommend that. I knew I wouldn't want the chicken. Like, as soon as she said it's like all chicken, I was like, oh, no, I don't want the chicken, because it always ends up being dry in theme parks and stuff. But those fish goujons were very nice. So give those a try at the Hungry Troll, unless they've changed the menu again. But for now, I'll see you soon. Bye.